I generally think that millions of people are trapped.
And the scary part is they think it's normal.
They wake up, they commute, they pay bills and repeat.
And they call that freedom?
A salary can pay your bills, but it quietly kills your dreams.
Most people aren't even financially secure. They are financially sedated.
J.O.B, just over broke.
That's dangerous.
And I think some people use jobs as an emotional hiding place because chasing freedom will force them to confront who they really are.
And I think one of the saddest things is people giving up on their dreams and convincing themselves it was never really for them.
Guys, this is the Unplug Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people who do not like to introduce themselves. We are the Unplug Podcast.
Are indeed.
And if you're joining us for the first time, it's because you're an absolute muckle and you've not seen us, right? We are here to help you unplug from societal norms so you can live life on your own terms.
Guys, as you can tell, myself and Freeman are outside.
We outside.
In my garden on this hot summer's day. We thought about going inside, but it was too hot. So we thought we'd do a little garden edition, summer edition.
Let's go, baby.
Take it outside. Let's go. So, guys, I generally think one of the biggest modern day traps is people convincing themselves that they're financially safe because they have a salary.
And meanwhile, they're literally one paycheck away from all the panic.
You know, people say, I've got a good job. I'm stable. I'm doing all right. But internally, they're stressed. They're dependent. They're exhausted. They're stuck.
And the thing is, society actually rewards that, bro.
Cool. So let's get into it, bro. Because like we know, or like we truly believe, we've been in that situation where we've got a job and we're living paycheck to paycheck. We're on a hamster wheel.
Yep.
Every day's Groundhog Day. You're not really enjoying your life. You feel stressed. You don't feel fulfilled. Let's break it down, man. So let's break down that people normalizing survival mode, because that's really what it is. A job is survival mode. Let's break it down.
I feel like the first thing is we speak a lot about it in episodes. I think it's environmental conditioning. It's literally all we've been taught. You go to school, you go to university, you work really, really hard in your job, and you do that for about 40 years. Hope you can get that the nice little car, white picketed fence, and you pay your taxes and you go, right? So I think like a lot of it is like down to like social and environmental conditioning, and it's all we know. No one thinks I can actually try to set up something and do something for myself or outside of that. And you almost, kind of feel a bit disloyal for trying to even do something on the side.
Yes.
Because there are literally thousands of people who would die to be in your position, which is in a job right now. Right, because obviously we know there's like a big unemployment crisis right now. And how dare you set up a side hustle and try to want more for yourself and set up a business when there's so many people like you who will just be grateful to clock in 9 to 5.
No doubt. I want to dig a little bit deeper. So what can being stuck in a J.O.B or like in this survival mode do to oneself?
I think it can, as I always say, limit one's potential of becoming the highest version of yourself. Because like to a degree now, obviously some people love their jobs, right? It's their purpose. But for the majority, it's not. And it's robotic. And imagine you having so much more potential, because to give to the world, to give to society, so much more value than just packing boxes or taking orders. Do you get what I mean? Like you're literally like wasting yourself in a J.O.B that doesn't fit your needs or doesn't suit any of your purposes. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like it's a waste of like human life.
Yeah. And I want to add to that. I feel like what it also does, it emotionally drains people, because it's like anyone who's got a job, you always find them saying, "Oh, I'm tired." They don't have energy to do anything else because they've given all of their energy to their J.O.B. But then what they do have energy for is that, thank God it's Friday, they're out on the weekends, that escapism, that using the weekends to get away from the life that they really hate. And it's almost like they're trapped in a routine.
Literally.
Like their job has got them in a routine, get up, go to work, commute, pay bills, and now you're stuck. And it's almost like you've replaced that comfort, or you've replaced comfort with ambition. Sorry, you've replaced your ambition with comfort. So you lack the ambition because you're so comfortable, you're so stuck in this routine, you're so emotionally drained, that you've given up on everything. You've given up on your hopes, you've given up on your dreams, you've given up on becoming the highest version of yourself.
100%. And I feel like as well, like what we also need to understand that this wasn't coincidental. This is intentionally designed. The 9-to-5 working system is intentionally designed. I want to say it was Ford or one of like the don't fact check me on this.
It was Ford.
Ford, like one of like the massive like vehicle manufacturers, like they created the 9-to-5 system that it was long enough for someone to work without feeling absolutely depleted, but enough time to rest and go home so they can do the same thing 5 times a week. And 2 days casually of the weekend to just trying to replenish themselves. Like it's just perfectly fit for structure. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people don't even understand that, you know? But on that note, I kind of also want to talk a bit about, you know, sometimes with the fear and the uncertainty. A lot of people like stability.
Yes.
I like to know at the end of the month, on the 25th, or on the 30th, or whatever it is, I've got my nice little paycheck.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with stability. I feel like stability is what you build on, but stability becomes a problem when you give up your hopes and you give up your dreams and you just settle. I don't think there's anything wrong with stability, but if it comes at the cost of, you know, you not working towards your goals or dreams or living an unfulfilled life, it means absolutely nothing. Why would you want just stability alone if that's all it ever was? Like, and you just got by. Like, you literally had to wait every month, paycheck to paycheck. You know, you literally just got by just by getting by. That's not a way to live. You know, so I feel like, yeah, just like that dependency of a job and that paycheck, it's disguised as security.
Yeah.
Like, people look for security, but you know, from my experience, and I'm sure you'd agree, like nothing great can come from security. Like, I feel like security has been almost, I don't want to say glamorized, normalized is the word. Like, if you don't have security, then you're living life wrong. Whereas, how many times have me and you gone without that security?
Yeah.
Like, now we work for ourselves. There is no security.
Yeah.
We are the security.
Literally.
And I feel like once you can identify that you need to be the security, not the job, you always look at life differently.
Yeah, and I think a big part of what you said is that people confuse income with freedom, right? Having some form of income coming in, I can pay my bills, I can eat myself, that is me being free. Because then the polar opposite is absolutely having nothing and not being able to provide for yourself. And I feel like us, like humans, like we're very much sort of like fight or flight in the sense of like, we're just needing to survive. And like this is like the adapted version of being able to survive, which is paycheck to paycheck, not having enough to do anything else, barely getting by, and not being able to do more than the robotic task or repeated tasks that we've been set out to do in our job. Do you get what I mean? So I think that's also like a new norm, like you said.
And I just want to say, guys, like, you know, a salary can pay your bills, but it can quietly kill your ambition. So I want to talk about why relying on a J.O.B is a dangerous thing, because the reality is, if that company now decides that you're no longer needed, your income's cut, bro. Like, there is no more money. And we've seen people who have worked for companies. I've seen people work for companies for 20 years, think that their job's secure, depending on that job. And all of a sudden, you get that letter. Unfortunately, Mr. Patrick, Mr. Richards, you're no longer needed here.
Yeah.
And what you thought was security, there is no security.
Yeah.
And I feel like today, in an ever-changing and evolving world, security means less and less every day. 110%.
And I definitely think, well, two things that I want to add to that is, number one, you always need to remember you're a name and a number, and you can be easily replaced. I can't count how many jobs I've worked that I've left and I thought I've had proper workmates and etc. But I kid you not, the weekend after you leave your job, you are forgotten about and replaced. How many colleagues did I say, yeah, when I'm leaving, we'll touch base. Don't be a stranger. Don't be, whenever you're in London, hit us up. Bro,
never heard or seen
never
them again.
heard of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's cool, that's fine, but that's just the way it is. One in, one out. You are a name and number in your job. Unless if you own the joint, you are literally replaceable. You can think, I've been here for 30 years, I'm part of the furniture, me and the CEOs are buddies. Until you get that little white letter that says your services are no longer required, you know what I mean? Because of, ChatGPT or AI, that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about as well, is that you also owe it to yourself to create another form of income or source of income, because you're just relying or being dependent on the one as well, especially with the ever-changing, I think it was Klarna that reduced 35 or 40% of the call center workforce with having AI chatbots. So like, look at that.
Yeah. Like we always say, you know, like if you're not evolving in an ever-changing, evolving world, you'll become redundant. You become like, no use to anybody. So I think that's a big thing as well. And I just want to expose the trap a little bit further of a job. Like, it sounds great, you've got the security. And again, we're not knocking having a job. We just want to expose that having a job can keep you broke.
Yeah.
And having a job is just, it's a security. It's a security that you think you have when you don't. And also, what a job also does, it makes you want to live for the weekends. Bro.
Yes.
You're living for the Friday. You're living for the Saturday. That's why that whole, you know, thank God it's Friday. And in my mind, why would you want to look forward to living your life away?
Yeah.
Like literally.
And I also think like ultimately like it's not fair as well, because like even like what you said with the thank God it's Friday is that you're working 75% of the time to then just try to enjoy that other 25%. Like, it's not a fair exchange. And ultimately, it's not a fair trade-off. And the routine is killing the ambition, ultimately. So something needs to change. But I feel like, again, like we said, that a lot of people are very like dependent. They're very sort of relaxed. And
they love security.
You know what I mean? And also another thing as well, actually, is, you know, you mentioned broke. And I feel like sometimes like the stigma with broke is like literally you've got pounds in your account. There are the scale of broke is massive. You could be making £1 million a month and literally you only still have a couple £1,000 left. So I feel like sometimes when people say your job is keeping bread, like, well, there are people who make 6 figures a year. There are people that make £500,000 a year. Like, there are people that have a lot of expenses, a lot of monthly expenses, because they're just very, very sort of like tied in what they're doing as well. So again, that's like another thing as well. Like, at any point in time, like that flow, that water tap can get cut at any point in time. And then what are you going to do?
Yeah, you're stuck in the mud. And I think just finally to add on that particular point, I feel a job definitely creates an illusion of comfort and it becomes addicted. You become addicted to that paycheck at every month. It's almost like you spend all your money and you get to a point like, oh my God, I can't wait for that money to drop in my account. And that's such a dangerous way to live, because now you're so reliant on it. It's an addiction, bro. And I think when it becomes an addiction, you almost feel like you can't live without it.
Yeah.
So you might feel like there's no other way than this paycheck.
Yeah.
When the reality is, there is another way. You know, people are making money outside of their job. People have, me and you both, bro, we've had a job, built something on the side, got it to a certain level where it made enough money and then decided to leave. But you have to learn, like we always say, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I feel like now is the best time. Now more than ever, change is needed, bro.
110%.
Now is not the time to get comfortable. Now is not the time to rely on security, because there is no such thing in this day and age, especially like you said with AI. And people are being replaced all the time.
Definitely. But I think that we've sort of like talking about a journey right now, but I kind of want to get a bit personal. Like, in terms of ourselves, when did you realize that this can't go on forever?
I think I mentioned it in a podcast episode before where I went away. I think I was on holiday for 2 weeks. And it was like the best time of my life. And then I remember it being Sunday evening. I was thinking, oh my God, I got to go back to work tomorrow. And I felt depressed, bro. I felt stressed. I was like, I can't live like this no more. Like, enough was enough. And I always say this, I feel like you can only really make change when you've had enough. When life becomes so unbearable that you tell yourself, I can't do this anymore. And I feel like until you can get to that point, you'll forever stay comfortable. You'll forever stay comfortable because life's good.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to hate your life before you can change it. And I think enough people don't. Surprisingly enough, when I look at how people live and, you know, they rely on paycheck to paycheck and like they still live with their mum or whatever it may be, like, and you're a big man, you're still comfortable. Like, you need to get uncomfortable or you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and start hating your life. And it's the only way you're going to make change, man. What about yourself?
I think with myself, it was also very much like a similar example in the sense that I'll never forget, I think it was in one of my last jobs that I worked. I was in Portugal with my mum. I was on the beach previously before work and I was working like on a big project and I had to like pretty much beg to go on holiday. And then I was literally on the beach. I got a Teams message saying, oh, Freeman, question on this project. Quickly got back to it. They said, oh, Freeman, I can't find it. Can you just like help me, whatever?
And you're meant to be on holiday.
Done a Teams call on the beach of Portugal and Algarve. Sorry, the signal is not great. The waves, I can just hear the waves. Do you mind just quickly going back into your hotel? It should only be about 10, 15 minutes. Go back to my hotel. There for like 4 or 5 hours. Sun's down now.
Oh, wow.
Whilst on holiday. Never got compensated for that. Never got an extra annual day of nothing. So that was like the first like line in the straw for me. And the second one was just like, again, I just felt like it was so unfair that in a 365-day year, I'm only given 25 days to enjoy myself. That just didn't feel like a fair trade-off. And I'm a really hard worker, right? And I just felt like every single pound you pay me, I make you 10. And out of 365 days, or maybe like, I don't know, if you exclude the weekends, maybe the 200 days I'm working with you, you only give me 10% of that off.
That's crazy.
And even the time I'm off, I spent half the time trying to re-acclimatize that I have to go back to work, like you said, on the Sunday. Do you get what I mean? So it's like you spend like a day trying to forget work and a day trying to brace yourself back into going into work. So it's more like 15 days, you get off. So, and I think that was just sort of like the line in the short, the final sort of like line in the final line in the sand for me was that this is not an equal or fair trade-off. And for me to have more freedom and more time in doing whatever the hell I want to do, I need to create something for myself. And that was the thing. Like it was almost like creating and starting a business was an escape route, as opposed to something that I felt like I needed or I had to do. Do you get what I mean? Like it was either, like you said, live like this for the rest of my life, or try something new.
Yeah. And really, what have you got to lose? I think the scariest thing is that us as a society, us as a world, have like normalized being unhappy.
Yeah, of course.
Like people
Especially
are in jobs that they hate, people are living lives that they hate, but they've normalized, they've just accepted, you know what, this is my life, and this is how my life's gonna be. And do you know how scary that is, bro?
Yeah.
You know, how crazy is that you can be so unhappy in your life, so unhappy in your job, but now you've normalized it. Like, that is crazy. So I think for me, you know, the scariest part wasn't the job. It was like just realizing at that time that I'd accepted my life where it was. And I just knew I was better than my current situation. I feel like that's where we need to get as people, where you realize, actually, I'm better than my situation. I'm better than my situation. I've got skills, I've got talents, I've got experience, I've got drive, I've got ambition. Let me try and improve my situation. Otherwise, spend the next 30, 40 years unhappy.
100%. And I feel like the problem with that is that a lot of people are not financially secure, they're financially sedated. So like we said, like they're just super numb to this feeling of, it is just, super fine to be unhappy. Like it's happening to millions of people around the world. Why should I cry about it? Do you get what I mean? At least I got a job. And that's also another thing I hate, being grateful. Like, you know what I mean? Like being grateful that you've got a job. And I always say, like, it's a mutual exchange. They wouldn't hire you if they didn't think that you can make them 10 times whatever they can pay you, if that. Do you get what I mean? So it's also that you're trying to like condition yourself. But again, a lot of people have just not reached that climax of enough is enough.
Yeah.
And society and the world will just give you, you know, your little dopamines, your little Maybank holiday. Do you get what I mean?
Rise,
Your little 2% pay rise, but 4% inflation. Do you get what I mean? Like, you know, what's that thing? Jet2 holidays, you know, get an extra 50 quid off. You know what I mean? Like they give you like these little highs to make you forget about, you know, all the crap that you're having to deal with. And that's how you stay trapped.
Yeah, for sure. I heard this years ago and it stuck with me, the acronym for a job, J.O.B, and it was just over broke.
Literally.
So that's what a job really does. It pays you enough, but never enough. It pays you enough to stay there, but never enough to feel like, I can leave. It's a trap, essentially, a J.O.B.
Ultimately.
Yeah, cool. Expanding on, you know, that framework or that acronym of J.O.B, a job always pay you enough to survive, you know, but not enough to actually go and get freedom and not enough to actually go and live the life that you really want. And, you know, you get trapped in cycles. Like you said, they bring you on you might feel low and then they call you in the office and they do your appraisal and they're like, you know what, you've been a good worker. We're going to give you that little 2%. And then when you work out after tax, bro, you're getting an extra 50
pounds, yeah.
Like, what is £50 going to do?
Literally.
How can that help change your life?
And it's just always enough to keep you comfortable to stop changing. You know what I mean? And like they create like these new goals and these new things. Oh, if you want to become a manager, you got to act like a manager 12 months unpaid before we give you that position. Do you get what I mean? Like there's so much that you have to deal with like in the workforce. You have to eat a lot of crap, kiss a lot of ass, do things you don't want to do.
I think you say eat a lot of ass.
No, that's a Sunday service. That's a Sunday's activity still. But you get what I mean, bro? Like you conform, like even like on the other episode, like we was just even just talking about like, you know, is racism still a big thing? And I shared, and you shared also some experiences about like, you know, the corporate racism that's there.
Yes.
Like that's something that I had to endure because I wanted to get a £50 pay rise, bro. I had to demoralize myself.
Yes.
As a human being for £50. I might as well be back on the cotton field, bro. Do you know what I mean, bro? I was getting paid more then, bro. Do you get what I mean? Like,
And you're in the sun all day.
You know what I mean? Not too bad. I was singing, I was whistling. Do you get what I mean, bro? No, but like, jokes aside, bro, like, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look how much you have to conform to. Imagine like women in the workforce.
Yeah.
You know, like objectified, sexualized, you know what I mean? Just to try and climb to the top. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot that you have to conform to, and it's crazy. And like you said, it's normalized.
Yeah, that's the scary part. That's the scary part. I mean, guys, the reality is this, you know, the system gives people just enough comfort to stop them from actually working towards their dreams or changing their life. And that's the reality. The job will always just give you enough, but never enough to really change your life. And that's why it's a big, big trap.
And I think, honestly, a lot of people use their job as, you know, emotional fears, because they know truly trying to become more and do more will require discipline, require effort, and ultimately them facing the music and having to dance at that. So a lot of people are hiding behind their jobs, hiding behind that false sense of security that they have to provide and they have to do more and etc. just because they're just not ready to put in that level of effort really as well. So because I think there's two sides of it. There's one, you know, yeah, like I'd like to do more, but how much do you actually need it? And are you willing to put in the work that is required?
And that's the uncomfortable truth, but I feel like people need to hear it. You know, that's what this podcast is about, guys, helping you, you know, unplug from societal norms, just unplug from maybe everything that you've been taught. It's almost like probably 80% of what you know is just wrong, bro.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have to reprogram yourself and rebuild yourself if you want to go to the next level, if you want to stop feeling like your life's not enough, or you're not doing enough, or you're not where you want to be, or you're not making the money that you want to make, or life is just shit.
Yeah, honestly, bro. And social media doesn't help, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Social media doesn't help it as well. Like I've never seen ever so more so now that a lot of social media is just like very flaunting, like, yeah, like, you know, you go to this really good school and you get this really good job, and like they're encouraging a lot of like, you know, sort of like standard academic jobs as well from like a very, very young age as well, just to kind of like keep the workforce healthy and young. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a very scary truth, man.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about social media, is because you have a lot of people performing online, and like, because there's so much people performing and looking like they're doing better than they are, everyone almost feels there's like a pressure to look like you're doing well. There is that faking that you look, you know, you're wealthy or you're financing your lifestyle, or that whole image, like I need to look like I'm making money, bro, or I got money, even though I might not have money. I might be like in some serious debt, but because the society is as you know, portrays that everyone's successful when 99% of people are not, there's a pressure to perform. And that's also what's dangerous, because that could just get you in a whole nother, that's another episode, bro.
Literally.
That type of trap. So,
and that's a real double whammy, because imagine the pressure and the stress of trying to look rich when you're not, and also being in a job that you absolutely hate. Like, that would send a man flying off the bridge. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't blame, because that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Imagine that, like you're forcing and you're creating an image to try and look wealthy when it's absolutely financially ruining you, and you're working a job that you absolutely hate in doing so.
And your job can't maintain your lifestyle. So then what that does is that gets people financing their lifestyle, credit cards, loans, overdrafts. Like, a lot of people don't own their lifestyle, like they rent their image. There's a lot of that going on in this.
Too much of that.
Too much of that, bro. And I feel like if we could just stop trying to portray someone and actually work on trying to be that person, like, you'd feel so more fulfilled within yourself. You know, you're working on yourself, you're improving, you're learning new skills, you're becoming more disciplined, you're around the right people. But if you're constantly pretending to be something that you're not, or in something that you're not, you'll miss out on the right opportunities. You'll miss out on, just being free and that freedom that ultimately we all want.
You mentioned freedom quite a bit. Do you think people genuinely want freedom?
I feel that they do, but they'll never admit it because they probably don't see enough people around them who have freedom that they can be like, oh, so-and-so did it, so I can do it. And that's why it's so important to, as well as like, you know, obviously when you go to work and you have a job, you know, you become quite close with your work colleagues.
Yeah.
But essentially you can only rise and aspire to your environment.
Yeah.
So they probably don't see freedom as an option. But the minute you start being around people who are making moves, people who are free, it's almost like, oh, wow, okay, well, them man there are free. They don't have jobs. They live life on their own terms. Now you can aspire to it. But I feel like most people don't aspire to it because it just doesn't feel real. What about you?
You know, I think I totally agree with you because with the things with the J.O.B. is that you're not only just trapped in the role, you're trapped in the environment and you're trapped in the mindset. Like you said, like what you don't know, you don't know. Like, I don't know any better. I don't know that there's a freedom. I don't know that I can do something for myself. I don't know that I can create a lifestyle that allows me to work whenever I want, wherever I want. Because all the other people are doing the exact same thing. So, you know, I must be okay, right?
Yeah. And I'll say you can only aspire to what you see or what feels real. And if you're not around that, it doesn't feel real. And that's why I almost feel like we almost have a duty to try and inspire people and let them know, like, you can, like, the world is bigger than just having a job. And again, I'm not dissing a job because I had a job and I feel like a job can be a great stepping stone.
110%.
And a platform to get you to wherever you want. But don't let it be the be all and all of your life. Like,
Yes.
There's another life.
It's a means to an end.
Yeah, it's a means to an end. And I feel like once we can understand that and then use it in a different way, then that's the game changer right there, bro.
110%. So, like, bro, in summary, right, you know, our core audience are a lot of 9-to-5ers, aspiring entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, dadpreneurs, whatever it may be. Solopreneurs, everything, right? So there are a lot of people listening to this right now. It's like, bro, it's nice, John. Appreciate the advice, bro. But that EDF bill comes up tomorrow. Do you get what I mean? So what are some like practical steps that we can give someone, or what's that one of the first practical steps that you'd give someone who's currently in the J.O.B, they don't like, and they now need to sort of unwind and try something new and do something for themselves now?
Yeah. One of our biggest lies is that you are what you consume and you are what you think about. So I'm gonna feel like one of the first steps is we need to change our mindset. We need to change our philosophy. We need to understand that there is another way of living, and the only way that you can change your mindset is by consuming information from people who are maybe where you want to be. So one of the big things that I do, I read a lot, bro. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I learn and educate myself how to do things different to what I'm doing now. Because wherever you are in your life right now, it's because of the choices, it's because of the decisions, it's because of how you think. So if you want to change where you are right now, you need to make some different choices. You need to make some different decisions. You need to put down the Netflix, put down the Amazon Prime, put down the gaming stuff, and start educating your mind and learning things that are going to help you go to the next level.
No, I love that, bro. I think for myself, I think ultimately you need to, it's a bit twofold, but you need to just, one, say no to stuff and be a bit more selfish. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to have more time and energy for yourself. Let me explain. If you say no to that overtime, you now have more of a resource, that being your energy, your time, the most valuable resource that to mankind that we can never get back, to be able to now invest in yourself. If you do overtime, which you get overtime tax on, to get a bit more money, on top of the 5 days you've already done, you have no energy for nothing else now. So you have to sleep and you have to rest to recover to do it all over again. Where's the time to do more? Where's the time to become more? Where's the time to study, to learn, to read, to aspire to be the people that you want to be? So yeah, it's short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. So maybe don't do that extra shift. Maybe do all your work efficiently between 9 to 5 so you can actually clock out at 5, go to the gym, eat your dinner, whatever, and you can do an hour, 2 hours deep focus, get stuck in a book. You know, attend that networking event after work. You know, try and say no so you can do more for yourself. And I think that's like one thing that I would do. And that's one thing I wish I really did. Because when I was working on my 9 to 5, I said yes to everything.
Yeah.
Work, drinks, yeah. Late shifts, yeah. Freeman, we have like a little charity event you have to do on a Saturday. Yeah.
Bro, you jumped on a meeting whilst on holiday.
Bro.
That little time you had to yourself. Yeah, and it just holds you back.
Always.
It holds you back.
Always.
Man. And guys, the reality is, I think what you need to understand is that freedom starts the moment you stop depending on one source of income. Because if you're reliant on one source of income, there is no freedom. So we need to learn how can we build income outside of our job so we're not so reliant on our job. Because it's such a, I don't know how to describe this feeling where you learn how to make money outside of your job. It's almost like it re-energizes you. It's like, I'm no longer fully dependent on my job. And it's like, if you can make £500 outside of your job, you can make 1,000, you can make 2,000, you can make 3,000. But you're not gonna do that if you don't even, number one, think it's a possibility, and number two, you don't take action. So it's very, very important. You know, you can't be talking about you hate your life and you hate your job and you hate this, and you hate that, and you don't make enough money and you ain't doing nothing about it.
Literally.
Like, that's not acceptable.
That's one of the most annoying things, bro.
That's
That's a big pet peeve I have. There's a lot of bridges, and you know who you are, bro. You do a lot of this chatter, and we have some deep conversations, and you do nothing about it. Don't chat to me, man. Honestly, bro, it's the one of the most jarringest things. I hate my job. I said, bro, like, why not do this? Like, one of my brethren, he knows he is, like, he studied marketing right now, and he studied marketing. He's working his job, probably capped at around 30K. I said, bro, there are loads of businesses, small businesses like myself, that would happily pay you a retainer, a couple £1,000 a month to do all my marketing for me. Like, why not just try to do something? But like, yeah, bro, I'll try to do it, and nothing ever kind of like materializes it from it. But yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really appreciate the source and the gems that we've been giving to you. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, this is a part of the show that we call Plug Bites.
Indeed, Plug Bites. This is where myself and Freeman talk about something we've read, something we've seen, something that's inspired us, something that's motivated us, and made us want to share with you. Like, so we do a lot of reading, listen to a lot of podcasts, and just find it just energizes the brain, and it just gets you feeling optimal, bro, is the best way to describe it. So, with that being said, one of my plug bite today is from my number one mentor and philosopher, Rohn. And Rohn says, if you do not design your own life plan, chances are you will fall into somebody else's plan. And essentially what that means, if you don't have any strong plans for your life, you'll end up working somebody else's plan for the rest of your life. And that is not a way to live.
My plug bite is by also another old-time G, Naval, Ravikant. And it's, you are not going to get rich renting out your time, right? There's a cap in terms of how much you can earn by exchanging your time for money. The next step for that is creating a product, a service, or some form of value that people can now buy, irrespective of you having to contribute any of your time. And that's now when you start earning that next level. And then you get to a level from there where you now get people doing that for you, and then so on and so forth. For ultimately speaking, if you want to make life-changing money, if you want to live a free and an extraordinary life of pure bliss, to live life on your own terms, so you are truly the highest version of yourself, you need to grasp the concept that you cannot rent your time for money, and something different needs to be done.
Love that. And guys, I just want to put out, like a PSA. This episode is not about disrespecting hardworking people. Like, in order to achieve success, you need to be hardworking. But it's about exposing that dangerous illusion of the J.O.B, bro, that 20 years ago, maybe having a job was security. But now it's not that. And we're just about exposing that lie that you may think is the way to go, because it's really not.
110%. But guys, I really hope you appreciate this little garden edition, right? Depending on the weather, we might do it again. But guys, really hope you appreciate this. I was going to say J.O.B. JP, Jay, talk to me. What's our plan? What's our mission right now?
Yes, so guys, we are on the mission to 1,000 subscribers. Firstly, I'm always calling out new subscribers, but love and respect to those who 100%. Follow the podcast religiously, who comment, who like, who share with their friends. We appreciate, we love you. Obviously, we are trying to build this network. We're trying to build, our Unplug family, and we want to just keep going to new heights and getting bigger and better. So we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please make sure you're liking, you're sharing. Press that big red subscribe button and follow us on our journey.
110%, guys. And as always, make sure you tell a friend, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell his mistress. And as always, guys, love, love, love.
Elevate.